Shay Hoelscher went from corporate beauty leader to leader on the racetrack with her own line of Prive hair products and now owns and drives a Porsche race car. She reveals what it has been like seated in boardrooms with men marketing products to women to now getting into the driver's seat herself with her own hair care line to take her mission of pure, clean, and sustainable products for women into the next generation. She not only drives a Porsche race car, Shay aims to take the excellence of the brand and incorporate it into her own brand, sponsoring female driver Sabra Cook, which if you hadn't heard the name, bookmark it now because you'll be hearing her name quite a bit in the future of auto racing. Now, let's get to business. Tiana Ryan, and this is the Businessy Podcast. Today, I have with me a woman who is breaking B barriers with Porsche and her own founding of Prive Beauty. She is Porsche driver and Carrera Cup sponsor, Shay Hoelscher. Shay, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome to be here. It's a pleasure.
Now, we were just talking off camera about the way you started your career. You were in a very corporate leadership setting for a ton of big names that everybody knows, these beauty brands: Sebastian, Wella, Nioxin Research, Coty Companies, and TG. As I told you off camera, I was a member of the Church of TG religiously. Love TG Bedhead. What was your greatest learning experience from working with all of those huge organizations?
You know what? I think my greatest learning experience, it's like three-pronged. One of them is just, I would say my greatest experience was working with um so many different people and relationships. And that today is probably one of my founding values when it comes to building a great brand, building a great company. It's all the relationships and people that I encountered along the way. And then, of course, the power of innovation education played into it too. And I just saw so many things in it feels weird to say almost 40 years and what I saw in the process. And my journey really all along from the very beginning of my career has always been about passion, persistence, and purpose. And I feel like at this point in my life and in my place, my journey, and having my own company, all those things come into play and be able to put them all together.
When did you decide that you wanted to launch your own company and go deviate from working for the large companies?
Well, you know what? It was interesting. I worked for all the large multinational brands, the majority of my career. And I had an opportunity back in it was 2015, and I was found by a private equity group in New York City. And it was an opportunity to take a brand that was broken and bleeding and basically turn it around. And I would have never thought this ever in my career because I always loved the structure of working for a big company and all the tools you had at your fingertips. And I was bitten by the entrepreneurial spirit back in after I was at the company for 4 years and doing incredible and turned the company around and rebirthed it and told a new story, remarketed, new positioning, new branding. And I was bitten by the entrepreneurial spirit. And I thought, you know what? I've always wanted to have my own company. So 2017 is when I decided to make that leap of faith. And then in 2019, which was probably not the best timing, is I launched Prive in December of 2019. I don't have to tell you what happened in 2020. So I launched at such an interesting time. And as we chatted off camera, you've seen transformation in the beauty industry and things have changed. Everything has changed. And so it's been an incredible journey, so many learnings, lots of pivots, lots of changes, and really wanted to have a brand that mirrored and matched my personal values and was really all about purpose over profit on so many levels. And it's just been fantastic.
As more women take the reins in their own product lines, what do you want Prive to stand for to connect with other customers?
And I wanted, and it's happening. I wanted the brand to stand for authenticity.
Mm.
I wanted it to stand for empowerment, and I wanted it to stand for kindness. And I feel that there's so much opportunity for that messaging in today's world that we live in. And with just my passion for women's empowerment and connecting the dots in the spirit of motorsports, mirroring kind of the precision and the high performance of the brand is how it all came together. But really, authenticity and kindness are probably, my guiding principles when it comes to having a fantastic brand. And at the end of the day, I like to think that when somebody thinks about my brand, is when the bottle is empty, the emotion remains, which I think is critical in any brand and love mark of building a brand that we all love and we're attracted to.
Now, telling that story, as you said, you've taken all of these other brands and retold their story, and telling the story of Prive, where you've taken that brand and completely restructured it to have that kindness in it. And I've used the shampoo 3 times and I love it. It's thick. The conditioner is so thick and it stays in your hair. The
Mm.
shampoo, you don't need to use a lot, and it suds up and it smells so luxurious. As you just said, the storytelling, it was when I first used it, I was like, I love this stuff.
Well, you know what? There's three core values or core pillars with the brand. The first is, and I love that you talked about how the product feels and how it performs. And literally the performance of using it one time, you can see immediate results. And my thought was, and having sat in so many big, huge marketing meetings with big multinational companies and companies saying you can't do this, you can't do that, can't do this because we need this sort of margin. And I thought, you know what? Someday I'm going to make a product that mirrors my personal values. I'm a health nut by trade. I mean, just it's who I am. It's what I put in my body. It's my health routine. It's my wellness routine. So first is making a product that has food grade ingredients. So I love that you shared how good and how thick and how the product felt. So it's so easy to make a cheap product where the chemist will add like gluten. They'll add things that make the product thick and make it feel like it's thicker than it is. So what's in the bottle is very clean, very pure, and that of all the great ingredients that we consume and put in our body. If it's green tea, if it's quinoa, if it's jojoba, all the things that are good on our skin and inside our body. So that's what's in the bottle. And that's why when you use the conditioner or the shampoo, you might think, oh my gosh, am I using conditioner? But in fact, our shampoos are so thick and so luxurious, you feel that they are different. And everybody that uses the brand says, wow, it's really different, Shay. And so that was the first thing that I wanted it to be unique and stand alone with the brand. The second was I have been a huge advocate my whole life to really be an example and inspire other women. And even though you would think the beauty industry is most of the women that are on the front lines, or most of the people that are working with the brands are women. And being a female executive, as I have for many years in the beauty industry, I was always surrounded by men. And one of my things was in this brand, in this company that I own, is I wanted to be a great inspiration for all the future generations that anything is possible. Don't let anyone ever tell you can't do something. And so that is the second piece of my personal passion with the brand, which is the female empowerment piece, which also speaks to my commitment to sponsor Sabre Cook, who runs in a very fierce series called Porsche Carrera Cup North America, a female pro driver. She's incredible, resilience, persistence. And then the third piece of the third core pillar of Prive is the doing good and giving back piece. I feel as a company owner, it is my responsibility to help make our world a better place. So I've always been a big advocate to give back. And so 1% of everything that we make at Prive goes to this nonprofit called Project Beauty Share, which is an incredible organization that helps women in need. And it is, when you think about if one is going through hard times and they don't have the simple things that you and I have, if it's a bottle of shampoo or soap, I mean, if you don't feel beautiful inside, how can you put your best foot forward? And so it's like this nonprofit is almost like the food bank for hygiene. So it helps women in need that are trying to get back on their feet. So we provide a lot of shampoo, conditioner, and styling products to this organization. And all of this comes together with something that I've tagged called Engine for Good. So kind of a fun little play on words with the fact that I'm a motorsports, enthusiast, and I'm a race car driver, and I bring it all together and hoping to inspire others to have their own engine for good in their communities and give back. So those really are the three core pillars that Prive stands for. And it's just been so much fun.
Now, we were just talking performance. When did you take a passion for auto racing?
It all started with when I was very young. I've always dreamt of being a race car driver. And as I got, as I grew in my career, and I also grew up in kind of a motorsports crazy family. My dad raced go-karts, and always, even my mom, all of us were always crazy about cars. And one of my milestones as a professional was I always wanted to buy a Porsche. So I bought my first Porsche in 2009, and this was a 911, which is the form factor that I race now in a sports in a true race car made by Porsche. But literally, Tatiana, it started there. I was bitten by the spirit as soon as I got the car. I took it to the beginning levels of high performance driving, and the regional club has different programs you can go to. And then I elevate from the skid pad to, it's called driver skills, and then went to, I call it the big girl track, which is the racetrack, and took my street car, not my race car, on the track. And of course, through like any sport, you have coaches and you learn how to drive a car at speed safely on the racetrack, and bought my first race car in 2018, which is again another gigantic milestone. I'd always dreamt of having a Porsche race car, and that's what I have. It's so exhilarating, and there's so many connections with motorsports and resilience and precision and performance, and it's just been so much fun to connect my life work, which is beauty, and connect the dots with my passion for motorsports. And it really plays into the female piece. And of course, I'm usually the only female on the racetrack. And so always been really passionate to invite other women into the sport and support other women and help other women and be a great example, and, not be afraid to boldly chase my dreams. And of course, I'm older, but I'm a huge fan to help other young girls do that. Unapologetically, of course.
Yes, girl. Yes, I love it. Now, getting your foot in the door of any male dominated industry, such as the companies you've worked for and racing with Porsche, a woman most of the time has to put in double the effort to get just a fraction of the recognition. How do you keep that balance of assertion without becoming labeled like the bitch or the person that is going to cause friction all the time?
I love that question. That's such a powerful question because um unless you are a female, you don't really know what that feels like. You don't walk in those shoes, right? I have really been focused in my career to really maintain the balance by being assertive through confidence and clarity, and never wavering from being professional. And I've always used it as my guiding light through those times if it's in a boardroom with other men, and just said, Shay, just be yourself, be heart forward, be empathetic, be honest, be authentic. And it's never served me wrong ever, ever. But be assertive.
We are seeing more and more female directed advertising happening, where, as you said, more females are taking those roles and being able to know what a female wants to see when they're picking out their new products. You not only are a race car driver, You're putting out sponsorships, as you said, with Sabre Cook, for other female drivers to compete on the track. What are you hoping to give them in this new world of opportunities that you said, may not have happened in the past? This is a broad new spectrum of all of these opportunities opening up.
It is. And when I think about just going back um in my journey in life from very beginning days, if it were high school or college and being an athlete. I've always been an athlete, always competed, always loved team sports. And I remember back when and this is what's really changing, which is great. I was always urged not to ever show my female side, like be strong. If it's wearing makeup or do anything that made me look feminine, right? You've got to be strong. You got to be able to compete with those boys and guys, right? So I think I think the most important thing is today is I want to be that example because if people can see me as a female and see me as a CEO and a leader. And I don't have to be a jerk or a bitch, as you said. I can be nice and I can be direct and I can be empathetic and I can be authentic and be myself and still be female. Um, I think I think the more that the future generations can see all of us leading by example is starting to break, and it is breaking those glass ceilings. Because to be yourself and be authentic and be female, but be strong and be smart and be great that you're smart and you're authentic and you're assertive in a nice way with empathy and helping others. I I I believe that things are changing for sure. And we're not seen as as different. We're all one.
In this day and age of social media and the opportunities that women have all across the board, how important is it for you to push women to not only be beautiful, but show that intelligence and not shy away from it? Because there is a huge spectrum out there where it's, still cool to play dumb, and
Yeah.
do, be silly and stuff. But you're pushing these girls forward to say, no, I have a brain. I can be running with the big boys in Porsche and having my own company that is very technologically forward, in chemistry and everything, as you said.
Mhm.
How important is it for you to pull women away from some of the other noise and say, no, you could do this?
No, I think it's probably one of the most important things in the messaging to champion all women to lead with their intelligence, to lead with their that first. But beauty and intelligence can be together. But the intelligence is really important. And it's okay to be confident and and it's all about your approach and delivery and how you interact. It's very important. You can both can be together. They can live in the same place.
When you started marketing Prive products with the cleaner ingredients, you also took a huge stance on something that a lot of companies are just now getting into, but the packaging. How important was it to not only have a clean product, but a clean package?
It's everything, right? So it's about sustainability. It's about, what is your message and what does it look like and who are you representing? And I think one of the things that was really important to me, having seen a lot and being a beauty connoisseur myself, I wanted a brand that was simple, no gimmicks, and and clean from the inside out. So clean would be of what's in the actual goo of the product without adding gluten and sulfates and all the junk that's added to make a product cheap and to give you a huge profit margin. But also the packaging. I think having a brand that looks so simple and timeless with the colors and saying what it is important. And then the actual material that the packaging has to be sustainable. Like our tubes are made of sugarcane. Sugarcane is a sustainable product that comes from the harvesting of sugarcane, and they throw that away. So they use the remnants of the process and put it in when they make the plastic version of the mold. So it has to be all in one. You can't just do one and not do the other.
You yourself are so fashion forward. As I said, your past of working in the fashion industry and keeping not only the aesthetics of the packaging itself and the product itself. How important was that to keep that all in line also? As you said, you have a timeless, a classic look to it.
I think, I mean, if you're in the beauty industry, you have to have some sort of fashion appeal, right? Doesn't have to be ultra crazy, but it can be simple. But I think to me, well, beauty is so much more than skin deep. It's the person, it's the persona, it's what the brand represents, but who's behind the brand, what does it mean? But to me, beauty's timeless, right? And beauty's fun. It's really fun.
It's totally fun to I had Janetta Boone on, who was the costume designer for Yellowstone, the Yellowstone franchise.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were talking about how she would literally just go sit in a Starbucks or something and just people watch and look at people's looks and make these stories up. Did you ever do that when you were designing for what Prive wanted to look like?
I just love watching people. And my thing is I like I like to study brands and what that brand represents. Like I think and it's interesting because I'm so passionate. I'm passionate about racing, I'm passionate about motorsports, but I'm especially passionate about Porsche. I think to me, Porsche is a brand that gets under your skin. And I'd like to think and I'd like to know that my brand has the same love mark at the end when the bottle is empty. And there's something so much more than just what you see on the outside. It's got to be the vibe, it's got to be the aura, it's got to be what the brand represents. And so all of that encapsulated with the heart and soul of the core of who we are and the female empowerment and the giving back and the performance and the cleanliness and it just all plays into every aspect of when somebody feels good and they use the products that they love, the emotion remains always. Just like you said, which was such a compliment. Oh my gosh, the way that it felt on my hair and the way that it smelled. Smell is so
Oh my
important.
God.
Smell is everything, right?
Mm-hmm. It smells like Tom Ford perfumes. As soon as I put it in my hair, I was like, this is so luxurious. I'm so happy. I love it.
Love,
You
love it.
you just did a huge promo at California Thermal out with the race cars.
I did. It was amazing. That was an incredibly rewarding day. And it was so much fun because we decided, the team and I decided that it would be very powerful and not really knowing because it was the first one that I've done and I plan to do more because this has become like an engine for good to invite people to talk obviously about the brand and experience and get that emotional souvenir, which is what they took away from this day. They had never been in a race car. Not many people have the experience to ride in a race car. And it was really fun because I have two race cars and I invited Sabra to come and drive one of them. And the plan was we only have one car that has a seat in it. It doesn't have a seat in it. We put it in for the event. And the plan was for us to go back and forth. But what happens is it takes a lot of time to there's an insert that goes in the race seat. So it fits you like a glove and you're in one with the car. Every race car driver has an insert inside the seat. So it was too much of a reduction to go back and forth. So she ended up being the pilot, if you will, in the car that was giving rides. But it was really fun because we were on track together. And the roar and the sound of a race car passing you is thrilling. So the experience of them seeing that, feeling that, it's violent, it's intense. And if you haven't been in a race car, it's very unique. It's a once in a lifetime experience. So I believe that the editors were just like, oh my gosh, I've never experienced anything like it. And it was nice because they got to know me, and they got a feel for the brand. And it was, a little day of beauty, a nice lunch, day in the race car. Sabre was there, who is somebody that we sponsor that I think the world of. And it just couldn't have been a better, more powerful day. And again, it's that emotional treasure that you take away. It's how I feel about the brand Porsche. And that's why I drive one. Everyone says, what's your next car? I said, this is it. This is my dream. This is my dream. I'm driving my dream car. How lucky am I, right?
Well,
It
you
was
need to
great.
let me know when you do another one of those because I want to go along.
Well, this is really fun. This would be really fun if you wanted to attend this. I do something is on the lines of giving back with Project Beauty Share. They have an
Mhm,
annual fundraiser every year.
mhm.
And part their live auction item, and the reason I have that other seat for my race car is every year somebody bids to come for an experience in the race car at the Thermal Club. And so I've done a fair amount of ride-alongs because I've been doing this with Project Beauty Share. So I'm really proud that I can raise 20, $30,000 for Project Beauty Share, which is how, obviously, if they're a nonprofit, this is how they get their revenue on an annual basis. So they have an event every year. So I'm a big participant in that event with them. So it's very rewarding, very, very, very rewarding.
Giving back with Project Beauty Share itself, working with the women who may not have those opportunities. And as you said, just getting a bottle of shampoo changes their life because they can then transmute that into moving forward.
Mhm.
Having those opportunities, getting cleaned up and out there, and not having more confidence in themselves.
It's all about confidence and integrity and belief. And there is nothing more rewarding than being able to impact and give somebody hope. And that's what it is. And I'll never forget this when I was first in the foundation of launching the brand. And when I went to go meet with the CEO and founder of Project Beauty Share, and they took me to a couple shelters. And I have to tell you, that was probably one of the most impactful, life-changing days of my life. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I have to do more. I have to do more because I believe that um, in life, the more you give, the more you get. And it's so fulfilling and so rewarding. And the first year that I participated in their annual fundraiser, I was taking delivery of my new race car. The project development manager said, hey, Shay, would you want to be a part of our annual fundraiser and give somebody an opportunity to experience in the car with you driving them in the right seat? I said, that's a grand idea. And we did the first year in 19. It's just been a raging success ever since. And it's one of those things that I want to continue doing because it absolutely fuels my passion in a way that hard to even put into words how it makes me feel and the good that I can do. And I feel like, especially right now, my whole mantra is, amplifying good and spreading goodwill and kindness and the ripple effect and all the things that come into play. So it's just been a great journey. I'm so lucky that I have my life work, which is the beauty industry, and then my heartfelt personal passion of motorsports, and they can come together. Like, who knew? That wasn't the plan. That's not what I set out when I launched the brand, but it's been very organic and it's been fantastic.
What can we see for the future of Prive?
Well, you know what? We're poised for great innovation and growth. Working on a couple new products this year. Uh, I want to have products that are diverse, that are inclusive, that so many different types of clientele can use. And I want to continue, you know, supporting with our Prive Forward initiative with Project Beauty Share, and even become a greater sponsor with Sabre Cook, who again has been, my partnership with her has been an incredible gift for both of us. Being a race car driver, being a female, she's the first female to race in such a competitive series like this. And um, I believe that it really resonates with our audience and the audience that buys the product. And I know it's interesting because when I first kind of brought my team into this motorsports thing, and I started before I had bought the race car, but I was doing women only track days with Porsche locally in the Northwest. And I know they thought I was absolutely crazy. Like, Shay, how do you connect? I don't get it. Beauty and track events, motorsport events. But we have found the most amazing foundation that speaks to the audience, and to be bold and to, fearlessly, follow your dreams, never give up, chase those dreams, go for it. And it's been very rewarding with the young girls who've come out of the woodwork to say, wow, I love what you're doing and I resonate with this. So it's very rewarding.
How important is a female founded company in getting involved with events like these, like the motorsports? Because we just had not too long ago, Charlotte Tilbury got
Yes,
involved with
yes.
F1.
I'm really proud of this. And not to say that I'm a trendsetter, but do you realize I kind of started this thing 4 years ago? And like you've probably also seen who I know very well. Her name is Catherine Legg, who
Mm-hmm.
runs IMSA, and she also runs this year again with NASCAR
Mm-hmm.
and Indy and Elf Hell. So it's been a great sponsor of hers. And I think my team seeing the Elf and Catherine Legg, and then of course the F1, which is, I mean, F1 is gigantic, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud, and I believe I have a philosophy where women supporting women, and when the tide's up, all boats rise. And I'd like to think that with all of us doing all this good work to support other women, and it's not just motorsports, it's soccer, it's basketball. I mean, women are becoming a force. And it's so rewarding to see the changes. It's long in coming, and we're not even there yet, but we're making things happen. And I love that I'm a part of that.
I have a question for you. Being a female leader, a lot of times when you get a lot of women together, you get some cattiness. How do you
Yes.
deal with that?
You know what? You do get that. And I'm always a little disappointed because I'm like, hey, girls, sisters, we need to support each other. We need to support each other, not compete against each other. So, I think the cattiness would be the same thing that I had done for many, many years in board meetings with all men. It's like, be confident, lead with confident, and lead with authenticity and being yourself.
So, dealing with that, because I had somebody on from Real Housewives, and that's basically what the show is about. It's about the cattiness, you know? And it's like, it, when I used to watch it, it was fun. They were all having fun together. And I don't understand how this society has now always wanting to pit women against each other.
Yeah, I do. I do see that. And you know what? It's disappointing because there's such a tiny group of women in the motorsport space, but I'm seeing that. And I think the most important thing is not get caught up in any of the chatter, which is the big thing, and chatter, gossip, whatever you want to call it, and just stay the course. And you know what? I I think that in my relationship and partnership with Sabra, we're really focused on doing that. And let's just lead by example. Let's be a great team. Let's show the future generation of the younger girls that just be your great, authentic, real self, and show up and put your work in.
How do you guide Sabra with on track experiences while racing? Because it does get heated out there with the boys.
Well, she's a pro. There's no question. That's not my place.
Mhm.
I think I've become a life mentor for her in other ways to run her business and her brand.
Mhm.
So we collaborate a lot like that. But when it comes to physically racing, and I'm just going to say it, sometimes because she's a girl, there's a target. Boys don't want to be beat by girls. Oh, I was beaten by a girl. And even I've experienced that in my little, amateur racing, which is not amateur, but my racing, where somebody's saying, yeah, I was beaten by a girl. I'm like, I can't believe you just said that. That's so inappropriate. But you're right, and you're exactly spot on. But she just stays focused and does her work and shows up.
Well, I think we saw a lot of that when Danica Patrick was racing because she
Oh,
had
right.
so many spotlights on her.
Hmm. She's amazing. She's a great role model, a great role model. It's hard, but you know what? I think the thing that's really important is not to be focused on the fact that I'm female or that person's a male, but the one thing that's really cool about when it comes to racing cars is the car, when it comes to the sport, knows no gender, right? So it can be a male or female. And it's great because like even my race cars and my husband and I play together on the track. And before I got my Prive suit and my Prive helmet and really started getting wiser about my brand and saying, wait, I need to plaster Prive all over my race car. Why not? And I need to have my suit. I need to have my helmet. And you've seen obviously images. So when Sabre comes, part of my sponsorship is she comes and I give, like any athlete needs time to test and practice. So we call it testing. So she'll come and she'll spend a couple days, which is part of my sponsorship. So she spends time and she tests in my race car. But in the beginning, I had the suit which matched my husband, which was all Porsche, and I thought, and nobody could tell us apart. And as soon as I would get out of the car, somebody would say, "Oh my God, that's a chick driving that car," and they always assume it's the guy, right, driving the car. So I get a kick out of that. And I do take great pride when somebody says, well, you're really fast, or, I'm kicking the boy's butt. It's fun, right? But at the end of the day, the car knows no gender. And Sabra's really fierce and very good. And she's got a lot of experience and she's a pro. She's really good.
Well, let's talk about advertising. Are we going to get a lot more race car content of hair coming out from under that helmet and,
Yes,
the
yes.
whoosh?
Yes, so we got a lot of great content last week at the Thermal Club from some fun things on track with the hair and using the product. And then, at the after lunch, we went to the spa and there was some great footage of Sabra and some of the other girls and doing their hair. And yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to sell soap, right? That's what we do. But we all buy from a brand that connects to our core values, right? And how we want to support that brand and where we want to go. If it's something we consume or if it's a restaurant or whatever it is, right? We're
Yeah.
human beings and we have to appeal to the emotion of that human and what obviously the brand stands for and what they're doing. And especially being women, as the majority of obviously our customers are women, women buy from companies of what's behind the company and what the company stands for. And as a consumer, that's how I buy. So I'd like to think that, we're identifying with that audience that's going to buy a brand that speaks to their heart and who they are.
Well, it looks like you have a huge audience and more women getting involved in auto racing itself. As I said, with F1 and NASCAR and the the smaller circuits and everything, you've got a ton of stuff going on, girl.
It's awesome. It's really fun. It's really rewarding too.
Now,
Just
where can people connect with you on social media?
they can connect with the Prive Instagram at Prive Hair and on social, obviously Instagram, Facebook, um, Twitter, and on TikTok. And then I always urge people too, they can absolutely follow me. My name is Shay. I'm easy, Shay Hoelscher. So I'm on the traditional platforms of Instagram and Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we also are on LinkedIn. Prive Hair is also on LinkedIn, but the hashtag is just easier at Prive Hair.
Now, do we
And
have
on
any
our
events?
website.
Do we have any events coming up where people can come out and get a little inspiration from you?
Let's see. The Thermal Club is private, and my last race is the beginning of May, but you can certainly come to one of Sabra's races, which would be awesome. And she actually is racing the first weekend in May, and she's a support race of the F1 race in Miami. And you can't miss her in the car because as a one of her key sponsors, the brand is all over her car.
So she's going to be down in Miami.
Yes.
Pre-racing F1.
Yes. 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 So I need to send you her race schedule.
Yeah, you do.
Or you can go to Porsche Carrera Cup North
Mhm.
America, and the races are there as well.
All
And
right.
I highly also recommend going to the Prive website at priveproducts.com.
Mhm.
And there is a landing page called Fueling Dreams, which speaks to actually specifically me being the leader, the founder of the company, and Sabra, our partnership, and a little letter from me and why the motorsports and my passion to support women, and tells you a little bit about her, which is great, and then her schedule. And I will be at all of her races after the Miami race. So her next race, actually, I'm also going to be testing at a racetrack called Watkins Glen at the beginning of June. So maybe we can coordinate that. That's relatively close to you. We're going to
Yeah.
transport my race car to the other side of the country. And then I'm also going to be attending her race in June as well at Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to stay in touch, and I'm definitely coming to
Yes, we
Watkins
will.
Glen.
And then
Definitely.
the other big carrot that I want to share with you is I would love to honor all of your guests if they want to go and purchase Prive at priveproducts.com using this code for 50% off first time, Girl Racer 50. Super easy to remember. Girl Racer 50.
Is it all caps or anything, or just Girl Racer 50?
Girl
Doesn't
Racer
matter.
50.
Okay. All right. You guys heard it here. Girl Racer 50. You get 50% off your first purchase of
You
Prive
know what?
products.
It is all caps.
It is.
Girl Racer 50.
Okay. Girl Racer 50, all caps, 50% off your purchase of Prive products. Shay Hoelscher,
This was so
I
much fun. So much fun. You had
thank,
great questions too. I love connecting with you. You're awesome.
thank you so much for connecting with me. And as I said, we're staying in touch because I'm coming to
Good.
Watkins Glen, watch some
Good.
race cars.
You're not very far.
No. And we're just gonna have so much fun in the future by staying connected.
I love it. Thank you for the opportunity. What a great chat we had. I love it. So engaging. You're awesome.
I'm Tatiana Ryan. This is Shay Hoelscher of Prive Products, and race car sponsor, driver, and just an all-around good human being. I love you, Shay.
Thank you. You too, Tatiana. Have a great day.